Good morning. Welcome to a very packed episode of SJU on Fandom Entertainment. Of course, you know we're getting into that Star Wars trailer. We're going to talk some Disney villains. And oh, baby, just when you think it's over, we got us some MoviePass news.
Just won't die.
Just won't die. I have got with me Billy, Emma, Dan. All right, let's get into the Star Wars trailer. The latest trailer for Rise of Skywalker premiered last night during Monday Night Football on ESPN, and the internet lost it. We all got to see it. We're huge Star Wars fans at this table. Billy has been sitting on his hands waiting to get to talk about this.
Yeah, it was incredible. It walks that fine line of like, it told me what the movie emotionally is about without telling me, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. After watching this, I'm like, the Kylo and Rey relationship, I don't know, they're fighting at the beginning. Looks like they're working together in the middle. I'm like, right. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm like beside myself at how cool it was.
Yeah, I think you totally nailed it, Billy, of that it really did give you an idea of like the emotional arc without revealing very specific plot points.
Yes.
Because that's the thing is that, you know, I think that people often worry that with trailers, you get all the best parts of the movie in the trailer, and that simply clearly is not the case with this. It was a really nicely done trailer, I thought.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, it was very, it evoked a lot of emotion without giving me everything. Just like these little clips of like, ooh, where are they at there? Oh, is that Endor? Like, where's this? Where's that? Just like the little tidbits and stuff that I needed. It gave me a cute mechanic working on C-3PO, which I love. It's like,
yeah.
So that's fine.
And the thing, as a Star Wars fan, I need to paraphrase Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Another happy landing is what I need. It's just all that I need right now.
Yeah.
And so, they're tapping into everything. It looks like, and they cut great trailers. I need this to be. I just want this to to do what it needs to do. Mm-hmm. Don't try to reinvent the wheel and turn a circle into a square and throw a triangle in there. Star Wars is opera. It's broad. It's big. This is what it looks like they're selling, and I hope that that's what they deliver, because you bring JJ back for a reason.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that people have thoughts about The Force Awakens, but for me, The Force awakened in me that thing that I loved about Star Wars in the first place. That's the effect it had on me. A little too similar to the original movie.
Sure.
I will grant you.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, very much
but,
so.
I'm hoping he's able to tap into that, but in a way also bringing everything back to a conclusion here. I still don't know about Palpatine, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But that's, it promised what I'm hoping it delivers, which is just a satisfying resolution to this thing that now has been going for 40 plus years.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. So what stuck out for y'all the most?
Well, I think that, even in the teaser, because basically yesterday morning they showed a teaser for the trailer that ended up dropping during Monday Night Football.
There was a teaser for a longer teaser to the trailer.
Yeah. So in the slightly longer teaser, we got a little bit of that shot of the Millennium Falcon dropping into what's clearly a big, like, coming together of the Resistance and all of these Resistance ships, which are a combination of different, starfighters and freighters and blah, blah, blah. And one of the freighters in it is the same kind of ship that the Ghost is in Star Wars Rebels. So I got very excited about that. There were people on the internet that are like, why does everybody think that there's only one of each type of ship? And I'm like, here's the thing. They will probably never even address that ship.
Yep.
Right.
It's just there. It's an Easter egg.
It's there for you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's there for me specifically. And it's like the most we might get is like a acknowledgement of it being piloted by a captain or a General Syndulla, be it Hera or her son Jason. Mm-hmm. So,
But I think that moment specifically is what I look forward to the most in Star Wars, because it works on two levels. One, I was with you. I was like, yep, I don't care. That's the Ghost and Hera's in there. But two, it works on the bigger level. If you don't know what it is, it doesn't matter, because that moment is showing, like, you have to remember where we are in the story. Like, at the end of Last Jedi, whatever's left of the Resistance is on the Millennium Falcon, and I'm sure the fire marshal capacity of that thing is like 40 or less. And they called out for allies. Nobody came. But then you see this scene and you're like, this is what Star Wars is about. It's about when push comes to shove, do we band together to do the right thing? So it works on this emotional level, but also like, the super nerdy level as well. Of like, is that the ghost? I'm sure if you look really hard, there's probably like a USS Enterprise in there.
I kept freezing it and looking. I'm like, because I'm
maybe.
Don't do that to Dan.
No, but I was like, I kept like pausing it at different points to try to like look at all the different ships that were in there, because I'm very specifically looking for an HWK light freighter, because that's what my character piloted in the Star Wars RPG that I was on. Like, that was the Yojimbo was an HWK light freighter. So I'm like, I wonder if there's one in there.
That's amazing. Well, and to your point, even there's that moment in the VO where they say we're not alone. Good people will fight if we leave them. Like, again, pulling together that theme. I didn't know my heart was going to do the things it did when I saw Lando. It did a lot. It did a lot of things. Oh, and now I'm getting all goosebumpy. But yeah, it did a lot of things for me.
Yeah, I feel like that shot of him, like just in
holding court.
I feel like
Yeah.
that was just a candid behind the scenes shot.
Just listen to Billy D stories.
I imagine that's probably what it's like. It's. I just I'm to the extent that I can on this movie, I'm sitting the internet out. I really am.
That's fair.
I just don't want the cynicism. I don't want it's never been a cynical franchise.
No.
I feel like that's where a lot of my problems with the last movie came from. I'm sure, like, a lot of times we have the job that we have, and I'm just going to go into this as a fan. I really am. And I'm just going to enjoy it on those terms. And I try to do that anyway. But this is, no matter when you jumped onto this moving train, this is going to be the end of something that started way back in 1977 to a certain extent. Not Star Wars. Obviously, Star Wars is going to keep going forever.
Yeah.
As Spencer likes to say about honest trailers, till the entropic heat death of the sun. But this story... And there's been ups and downs. It's been a bumpy ride, but it's been a trip, and it's been a journey. And if JJ wants to tap into imagery and music and characters along the way, that's if you don't like the sentimental Spielberg side of him, that's your prerogative. But I'm just I'm ready to go on this trip, and I'm hoping at the end of it, it just really puts us down where we can look back at everything that's happened before and say, like, okay, it's been bumpy, it's been a bumpy ride, but we got to the end of it and in a satisfying way. That's my sincere hope for this movie.
And I'm a cornball. Give me the sentiment. Put all the sentiment just right in my eyeballs and right through my ears.
Sentiment's not bad in its own. And people talk about this thing of just like the idea, it's like, so sentimental. It's like, yes, people have feelings. People have happy, positive feelings. Yeah. It's like,
who hurt you?
It's like people ask us why we laugh so much on this show. It's because we're happy people.
Yeah, we're having a nice time.
We like each other. We hang out.
It's now over sentimentality, cheesy sentiment is when you, but this idea of just like if you tap into love and nostalgia is always a bad thing.
Absolutely.
That's not true.
And I think that Star Wars is one of those things that dances that line very well of it's always been very sentimental, and that is what makes it so great. It's that sentimental idea, like we were talking about, of all of the good people coming together to do the right thing.
Return of the Jedi ended with a teddy bear barbecue. It's like this franchise
I will say,
has never...
that is my one disappointment, is there were no Ewoks in this trailer.
I'm fairly confident that was indoor, though. From the sounds, from the helmet that drops,
but my question is, do you think it was actual Endor or the moon of Endor that they were on in Return of the Jedi?
I mean, if we take Caravan of Courage as canon, the moon of Endor is much bigger than what we saw in Return of the Jedi.
Do you think after Rey is jumping over that canyon that she stumbles upon a door and Wilford Brimley opens and he's like, what's going on here? Hey, get off my lawn.
Well, I look, in my head, I'm like, it could be Endor, because you think, like, they have no allies. What's Leia going to do? She knows she has at least friends on this one planet, so why...
The Ewoks love her.
Right. I also think too,
as they say, the Ewoks stand.
The one thing that this trailer has that like they've never even attempted to do, even in Return of the Jedi, which at the time I think George thought like I'm done after this. There's like a true sense of finality. That moment of C-3PO, which is the emotional crux of that entire trailer, of just saying like, he's saying goodbye, and then Chewbacca roars as if like, don't worry, we won't forget you.
Yeah.
And then the next
And
shot
R2 was like, you have to like
that
comfort
hopeful
R2.
Star Wars theme kicks in. You just see our heroes just running and gunning. You're like, this is it. This is our last stand. You know.
And that's a moment that could be cheesy, but also if you get the right sense, if you nail the screenplay and the emotions around it, then it's not. It's all in the execution.
Absolutely.
And JJ's been good at that. A lot, and sometimes he's not so good at that. But again, it's like everyone's different with what they want, what they expect, and their fandoms and everything else. But as this Star Wars fan is really just looking at like in total, like as long as you weave these things in with care and with love, and in a way that makes sense and doesn't seem superfluous, then I'm on board. It's when you start getting extraneous that I'm like, but you're not going to know that till you see the movie.
It's really interesting because I feel like I am one of the people who's been very much on the side of I really don't want a redemption storyline for Kylo Ren. Like, I don't want him to be redeemed. I want him to end as a bad guy. But this trailer...
The internet's coming for you.
I know, they're going to come at me. But this trailer made me sort of okay with it because I did really like to see him and Rey team up. You know what I mean?
Was great.
Like but I think that they can team up without him turning full good guy.
But if they do the Echo thing, which is this is a George Lucas thing, it always has been. Then the third movie, you've got the redemption of Luke Skywalker, and then this, in Return of the Jedi. So this could be, is this about the redemption of Kylo Ren, etc. Which again, people say, well, that's so predictable. It's like, well, yeah, everything's predictable. It's about how you do
really
it.
An original
It's about how you do it.
You guys,
it's not
I hate to burst your bubble, but Star Wars, the OG, is basically George Lucas's Flash Gordon fan fiction.
Yeah. Right.
So like,
the hero's journey is like a whole 12-point thing, y'all. Like it's the way that you write a story. So speaking of things that might feel familiar, how are we feeling about Emperor Palpatine and him possibly coming back?
That's my big sticky wicket with this movie. I just don't know. I just don't know. Like what? What is the plausible scenario through which you're going to engineer this?
There's something that he says in the trailer where he's like, you're coming together, so everything's going according to plan. And I'm like, is he talking about Rey and Kylo Ren, and like the two of them coming together has something to do with like the greater destiny of the galaxy?
Is he a Reylo shipper?
He would be.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense for him. I don't know. I just think, look,
touch hands in the rain.
I know that people don't want politics in their Star Wars, and far be it for me to inject it. But the idea that a very horrible evil that maybe we thought was gone, or maybe we thought we were past, remnants sticking around and popping back up, it's not something that we're not living through. So look, I do think that there's a way, and especially too, like, yes, there's definitely, like, if you're really into the Star Wars lore and the the Clone Wars and the Rebels and all that stuff, like there's a lot to the dark side that the movies just do not have time to get really deep into.
True.
There's Sith ghosts, and we're not talking like haunted ghosts, not like fun Obi-Wan come sit on the bench with me. Yeah, like, tell me what you want for Christmas, Obi-Wan. This is like real haunting stuff. So I definitely think that they're
ghosts that can literally possess other people, like real bad ghosts.
And that's where I'm with you. Like, the movie is going to have a tough time because it's got to explain like years of canon and lore in a way that is not going to be like, wow, this is a really far-fetched scenario.
I think that my biggest thing is I don't want it, and I am somebody that loves Clone Wars, loves Rebels, digs into a lot of the extra Star Wars content, and I think that overall the films have done a really good job of not expecting people to have also consumed that, with the exception of Solo, which brought in Darth Maul. Yep. And that, I think, was, and obviously even for me as somebody that likes that other stuff and knew that he was absolutely alive at that point, even I was like, you're really just going to go there and provide no additional explanation for
it's
the
very strange
of your audience?
It's like, oh, and he was a CEO for 3 years, you just didn't know it, and you're like, okay, all right, sure, yeah. I mean, I was still excited, but I remember you and I talking where it was like they had to go out of their way, like he ignites his saber and he has to awkwardly stand up, so you're like, that's okay, that is the guy.
And that was for me an inclusion of something, a return that for me felt superfluous and wasn't set up, and I didn't like, because I'm like, what? There's no reason for him to be there. Like,
Sure, yeah.
What? Okay, what?
Totally.
Yeah.
No, I don't disagree at all. Even again, being very much on board with Billy of like, oh, this is cool. Like, because in a way you feel like they're rewarding you for consuming that other content, but also I think that overall they're very conscious of the fact that that's not something that everybody's doing.
Yeah, there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours
God.
and books
Yeah.
and all of this stuff and some of it is directly tied into the lore, and some of it was fun and people thought it would be and then wound up not being. And unless you know these things or really do the research, you kind of don't know which is which, and so which things should I be paying attention to and which things are no longer canon.
Yeah.
And maybe I can just read it for fun.
The only thing that I really hope, and I have faith. Look, I really love these new Star Wars movies. I typically love most things Star Wars. I just hope that JJ and the team they don't undo what Anakin did at the end of Return of the Jedi, because if that ends up not meaning anything, that kind of undoes like a big part of Anakin's story. So like there is that tightrope where it's like Anakin's sacrifice of himself still has to mean something. And who knows? There's rumors all around, like maybe Force Anakin shows up. Who knows? But like it definitely still needs to, it can't change the context of that moment.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm on board though with the idea of like Rey with her lightsaber and then like a Return of the King style battalion of every character we've ever met behind her.
I'm not gonna lie though.
I don't know.
If we
On
get
your
like
left.
Like Aragorn with the undead
if we get
army.
like
Yes, exactly.
Ki-Adi-Mundi ghost coming in, or like Yaddle, I'm gonna be like,
all of the
like
Jedi
I will
Council
freak out.
cast.
Yeah, I will freak
You know
out.
what? I think I'm more on the side of I want that.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. I think you just inception me with the coolest idea.
If it's set up properly, but that is right on that line for me. Although, did I just predict? Did I just accidentally?
I don't know. If you
to the
did though,
ending.
I will be as so happy. I will be a pig and poo at that moment.
This is, for everybody who thinks that Billy is a grump, you start
this
talking
is
about
it.
Star Wars.
Yeah,
this is the most
about
excited
it, yeah.
and happy you will ever see him. It's amazing.
That's right.
It's like there's like a twinkle in your eye,
Right.
like you can't wait to have a conversation.
I know.
Who are
I should have talked about Star Wars during my vows at my wedding. Maybe I would have. Maybe the pictures would have turned out better.
Billy skipped into the studio this morning.
Yeah, but it's weird. I tried to get him to hold my hand, but he wouldn't do it. Yeah.
Oh, next time.
Next time.
All right. Any closing thoughts? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody is still speculating as to who Rey is.
Right.
Apparently, I liked her voiceover of everybody, thinks that they know me, but they don't. And Kylo Ren being like, but I do. And I would like you to know that Danielle wrote us a very nice breakdown of what happens in this trailer. And I
didn't finish it.
I just really want to read you this because this is poetry right here. Kylo emerges out of the fog with his lightsaber in hand. VO, Kylo. But I do. He is very wet. I just needed to share that because
He was very wet.
He was.
He's a wet boy in this trailer.
Totally
With a cape on.
Yeah.
That's gonna weigh you down.
For battle, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't, like if you're battle with a wet cape, it's throwing your balance off. I don't know.
No, but what I was gonna say is I am definitely one of the people that's more on the side of I would like Rey to just be a person.
Yeah, that's where I fall too.
And but I'm curious to see who she is.
I mean, if they're related, I don't want it. Because now, like, the flirting and the weird stuff is even, and I know that's a Star Wars thing, too.
That is a Star Wars thing.
That is a Star Wars thing. But I'm saying after watching seasons of it on Game of Thrones, you can keep it for me.
The flirting to me feels very like a lot of people bring more to that themselves than
That is
probably
true.
what is there.
That is correct.
Like it is fairly just like two people who are connected, who are trying to like figure out the situation with each other than it is like, by the way, want to bone later?
Yeah.
Like that's people bringing their own kind of.
Well, we live in a world of slash fiction, Billy.
That's true.
And
That's
so
true. You
there's
put a
nothing-
male and a female, or even a male and a male in close proximity. Look at Captain America and Bucky.
Oh yeah.
Look at Finn and Poe.
Yeah, look at Finn and Poe. Yeah, it's we're in a ship world.
Amazon
We're in a
Prime
real-
shipping. Yeah.
real horned up world here, guys.
Amazon Prime shipping. Our new
Everyone to
podcast.
kiss. The world wants everyone to kiss.
The world wants everyone to kiss. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe and go ahead and hit that bell. We are SJU on Fandom. As most of you who are watching this, who watch us regularly, you can tell this is not going live. We did want to make sure we got that sweet, sweet, juicy Star Wars meat before we really got into that. But yeah, this is not going live because the TriCaster caught on fire yesterday.
Literally.
Literal fire.
Got on fire.
This is not a metaphorical fire.
No.
Yeah, it flame.
Actual flames.
So that is why if things are pre-taped more than usual this week, it's because the TriCaster.
We have a little like the TriCaster that could right now.
Yeah.
It's just like a little baby TriCaster that we're trying as best as we can. But tomorrow's SJU, which is pre-taped, Joe and you and myself, we actually reenact how it happened.
We did. We did. No, we didn't get out of our seats. Let's not go crazy. But we did definitely talk quite a bit about that. New Power Levels is out.
Yes.
It is Pikachu versus Electro. Billy, again, has been working very hard on all of these. What can you tell us about it?
This one's fun because I guess a lot of times we think about these comic book characters or these movie characters, and we're like, oh, they're so supernatural. Oh, they're so OP. It's like, sometimes you forget that our actual nature is very OP and lightning is very scary. Like real lightning in a storm, don't be under a tree because it'll hurt worse than Pikachu.
Yeah.
Oh.
That we found out. Yeah.
Clearly been working very hard on Power Levels, as I am obviously the voice of it. I'm not. It's Roxy. But
They can never tell our voices apart.
There are still many comments on those videos apparently.
Like, good job, Emma.
Great job, Emma.
But I do think you did proofread this script.
I did. I actually proofread this
Pokemon
script
lore.
for Pikachu.
Yeah.
So yes, I did. I did contribute to this one in a small way.
That's right, Emma, Star Wars expert, Pokemon expert,
Yes.
Pikachu lover.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh definitely.
How could you not be?
Yeah.
I know.
What's not to love about Pikachu?
He's so tiny and cute. It was the best part of Detective Pikachu. Was just, I want to hold you, and you can burp your weird coffee breath into my face.
So cute.
Oh, here's another thing we're super excited about. The trailer for the Galaxy Quest documentary is out, and we have partnered with Fandom. Fathom, thank you. To release the doc in theaters on November 26th. The link is going to be in the description. You can buy your tickets. We're really excited for all of you to see it. I know that a lot of you saw it in New York. Just such a great job in this one. I love the story. I love the way that it tackles fandom and how fandom works, which is basically what the movie is all about. So please, you guys are really going to enjoy it, and we'll have more information about where else you can see it as that goes on. But if you do want to see it in other places and other things, go see it on November 26th, and then that means where it's more likely to end up other places. Yeah. So, very excited. The links for all of that are in the description down below. Story number 2, this is via fandom.com. We have an article talking about the best Disney villain and what makes a perfect villain in the Disney universe.
Yikes, that's a hard one.
That is a really hard one because there's so many really, really good ones. What do you think makes a great Disney villain?
Well, they gotta be scary. Because I remember watching Disney movies as a kid and being legitimately really scared of the villains.
Yeah. Maleficent is terrifying at the end of...
Yeah. Oh, and when she, in the OG Sleeping Beauty, when Prince Philip goes to try to rescue Aurora and she, shows him this vision of the future and how it's gonna be terrible and he'll never be able to save her and he'll keep trying and then he'll just get old and it'll be sad. That is scary. That's just as scary as her transforming into a dragon.
They let her use the word hell, which was weird. It was a think about because that would never happen now.
Listen, Sleeping Beauty's mom didn't have a name, so it was a different time.
Frollo had Hellfire. That song Hellfire.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
That song is terrifying as well.
Yeah. That guy, that character does not get enough credit for being as big of a dick as he is in that movie. Yeah.
He's the worst. Just talking about horned up. Just wants to take down everything, wants to get the girl, but not in the right way. And he's like, I want you, but since I can't have you, I guess I gotta kill you. Boop-a-doop. It has a whole song about it.
Yeah, Boop-a-doop. It's one of the great Disney villain songs.
Yeah. I feel like there has to be a level of charisma to them also, because I think about how Jafar was really scary to me as a kid, but there's something about Jafar where you can't stop watching him.
Right. Ursula, I think, has always gone down as one of mine.
Oh, heck yeah.
Well, a good song helps.
A good song helps.
Definitely.
For a villain. I think that even though there were villains that want to take over the world and kill people, Cruella de Vil. That's the most evil plan ever. Skin puppies, ugh.
They had faux fur back then too, so it's not like you could have just ordered a faux fur polka dot thing. Why does it have to be puppies?
Yeah.
Because she's evil. Like, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
That's so evil.
Is that a lot of these Disney villains are really evil. Like, they don't have much motivation outside of being horrible people.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I really always liked Scar, because he's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
But like his intentions weren't just like, I'm gonna be evil. It's like
Right.
he felt slighted, and I feel like his probably motivations, especially when you're like a kid, are like the most easy to be like, oh, there's a little more to him than like, as much as I actually like the movie, like the weird voodoo guy from Princess and the Frog.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you just like voodoo because you're a bad voodoo man. You know, I don't even remember what his name is.
Voodoo Man.
Voodoo Man. Yeah.
Voodoo Man.
Yeah.
It's interesting in the musical, the Broadway musical of Little Mermaid, they actually gave Ursula a little bit more motivation. It's a terrible, terrible production, but the script is actually
I want to see it.
Oh.
But the
Danielle
script
loves it.
is actually pretty good, like for the Broadway musical, and in it, like Ursula, she's still an octopus, but for whatever reason, she and Triton are actually brother and sister. And so when their father died, he like split up the kingdom and gave them each half. And Ursula's like, not good enough for me. I want all of it.
Oh, wow.
It's very
yeah.
like
Yeah.
Lion King / Hela from Ragnarok. You know, you gotta mention Gaston. Gaston probably gets the best song about a villain. It's hilarious.
Yep.
It is good.
Yeah,
Gaston's not super wrong, though, also.
he's super not right though.
He's not a good person.
No.
But a beast kidnapped a chick.
I mean, the thing about Gaston is you're dealing with somebody who is, as we say, a horrible person.
Yeah, he's not a good person.
However, his reaction is
However,
correct.
she tells him like, "Stop! Don't do this. It's not what you think." And he's just like, "Get out of my way, woman!" Like he's a terrible,
no, he is. He's a terrible
He's not a
person.
good person.
But I don't think that all the people that follow Gaston to the Beast's castle are terrible people. I think that they were swayed by a charismatic.
Cancel culture, Emma, and I won't stand for it.
Beast is canceled.
Cancel the beast. Cancel the beast. Cancel the beast.
Oh, so who is it?
Oh my God.
Emma, who's your favorite of the Disney villains?
I gotta go with Scar. I think
Yeah.
it's, you know what it is? Its song is so good. His song is so good. And I'm
Okay.
specifically talking about Jeremy.
I was going to say,
Scar.
what do you think
Yeah.
about Fuzzy Scar?
Fuzzy Scar's fine. He's fine. He's fine. But
I still so weird that
OG
they
Scar.
didn't let, because Chiwetel could actually have done that.
I
whatever.
know.
It's like that spoken word poetry. It was
Yeah.
And he's a musical theater.
Yeah.
It's
the whole
fine.
thing.
Yeah, he probably sung it better than Jeremy Irons, who kind of talks his way through the song. But here we are,
Here we are.
2019.
Billy?
It's toss up. I would say Jafar just because he is real animated Jafar.
Yeah.
I do like some of the story elements they brought to the new Aladdin, where he was like a former criminal and kind of made his way in. But
You don't like Hot Jafar as much?
no, his voice, you need that deep booming bass
Yeah.
that the animated one has. But I'd say, like, best villain, probably because we all knew one, it's Sid from Toy Story. What a piece of crap. And then he ends up being a garbage man later. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what you deserve.
Oh, okay. Look, that is a
He
great
liked
union
being a
job.
garbage
Yeah.
man.
That's a great
Because he's a piece of garbage. He belongs with garbage.
Come on.
That's a great job. It pays. It has fantastic
no,
benefits.
There will always be
I'm
garbage.
saying emotional threads. I think it's great that the piece of garbage kid ends up spending all his time with garbage.
I want to give a little love to the OG, the queen from Snow White, who scared
Oh,
the
yeah.
Jesus out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
There's a ride at Disney World, the Snow White Adventure, and it ends with the queen like on
yeah.
the thing with the rock, and it scared the crap out of me. She's sinister, like
Yeah,
especially the disguise when she's like the old
Yeah, the
disguise.
first time I saw them, because they did like a revival where it came back into movie theaters for a little while in the probably late 90s.
Sounds about
Yeah,
right,
they
yeah.
started doing a lot
and
of
I
those then.
remember going to see it, and I was probably 10 or 11 at that point, and she still was terrifying to
Yeah.
me. So
Yeah.
That ride is hilarious, by the way, because it's like, oh no, and the witch, and then the next ride's like, and they lived happily ever after. You're like, wait a minute.
Because the witch and she fell to her death. Hi ho, she's dead. She's dead at the bottom of a canyon, and everyone's okay.
The Little Mermaid ride at Disneyland now does that too, where it's like Ursula. It's like, and then the
Little
next.
Mermaid has a little more context because at least you get
Sure.
to see the wedding scene.
Yeah,
at the
but at
end.
the end of Snow White, it's just over.
Literally
and you're like,
just
what?
A title card. A title card. They lived happily ever after. Huh? It's like the end of Jane Eyre.
Yeah, that ride is hysterical.
All
Can
right.
we have a ride that's all of Disney villain deaths, and that's all?
Just a lot of people
A lot
falling
of
off
people
stuff.
falling, Ursula getting stabbed with
Yeah.
a ship. Yeah.
Yep.
She got a real violent one.
Yeah, that's probably the most like PG intense one of all the demises of
pretty
villains,
intense.
right?
From Oliver and Company.
Oh,
Robert
yeah.
Loggia's character, he just straight up dies in a head-on
Yeah.
collision. It's
pretty bad.
brutal.
That's
The
grisly.
80s was a different time, man.
Yeah. Wait, no, was it? No, George C. Scott was the guy for Rescue.
That was Rescuers Down Under, right? The poacher. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yep.
Straight up head-on collision.
Oh, yeah, that's real. It's like that scene in All Dogs Go to Heaven that I can't watch.
That whole movie is
just
tough
can't
to
watch,
watch.
yeah.
And then the behind the scenes stuff, that movie is just sad. It's just sad from start to finish.
Sad, sad movie. All righty. Anything else before we move on?
Oh, yeah. I think one thing I realized, of course, after the fact, because my brain is in slow motion,
course.
we just got back from a long trip to Florida, is in the Rise of Skywalker trailer. There was one more thing, which is that there is a shot where Kylo Ren and Rey are working together, where she has a dagger in her hand.
Oh.
And I looked at the frame again, and I can definitely see it. And the internet is losing its mind, speculating that this is probably the Dagger of Mortis, which is a big tie-in to the Clone Wars animated series.
Okay, what is the Dagger of Mortis? I don't.
So Mortis is like this. It's like a weird metaphysical realm.
It's like the Clone Wars cartoon.
Dan's like, I'm out.
Paint the picture.
Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels do like we start to get like the weird, like the space whales and stuff. This goes into like the weird part of Star Wars, which I don't know how much they'll get into.
I don't know how much they can, but yeah, so basically like there's Mortis, and then in Rebels they go further with the whole World Between Worlds, which has clearly some connections to Mortis, but basically it's like there's this whole, it's like a 3-episode story arc maybe, because the Clone Wars is a serialized series.
Right.
So it's like these 3 episodes are one story, and then these 3 episodes are another story, completely unrelated to the one we just saw, but there is a little serial where it's Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan basically go into Mortis and kind of take on the roles of what is it? The sister, the brother, and the father.
Yeah.
The father, the son, and the daughter. And yeah, so they have like this whole back and forth with them, and then the whole thing is that they don't remember any of it when it's over, because again, it's like a metaphysical.
It's a little bit kind of like the
realm.
spiritual realm of like Black Panther, where it's more of just like, is this real? Kind of, yes, no, maybe just to them, who knows? It's a little bit more mystical.
But like the Dagger of Mortis, like in theory, is like the only thing that, like, if you have somebody that is like continuing to exist sort of metaphysically, even though they're dead, like that would in theory be like your Dragon Glass or Valyrian Steel with the
so
Night
that
King,
could be
I think.
It could be a big thing.
Yeah.
There's also like you can't really tell, but a lot of people think they're crushing something that maybe has that burnt Vader helmet.
That's what I thought when I saw it.
Yeah. So again,
is it the real life or is it just fantasy?
Caught in a
nothing to add.
landslide.
No escape from reality.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for that, because I didn't catch that either.
there's a lot of good stuff in
Yeah,
there.
there's a lot.
of good stuff. Like they said, saga ends, story lives forever.
Yeah.
We'll be finding this stuff for years.
Yeah, true story. Speaking of weird true stories, MoviePass just keeps right on MoviePassing.
Oh boy.
MoviePass is still charging customers cards despite the service shutting down in September, as reported by the New York Post. Former members of the movie-watching program claim they were charged for varying amounts after the service ceased. 2 women told the Post they were charged twice in September.
Do you remember what I said when this shut down? I was like, this is like Lex Luthor or the Penguin or something. Like, don't just tell me Batman's dead. Show me the body. Because this thing is just not dead.
To be fair, they did say they were ceasing MoviePass. They did not say they were stopping charging their customers.
This is such like Milton and Office Space.
Company, you have to be like, wait. No. Now what exactly are you doing? Because it's that would be like, if they called up Mitch Lowe, it's like, we're trying to do a business model where we charge our customers without actually providing any services. We think it's a real disruptor to the way the business is done. And if you look at our terms and conditions, we said that we were ceasing our service. We never said that we were going to cease charging our customers for it. I don't understand what everyone's so angry about.
Amazing.
Oh, MoviePass is just the gift that keeps on giving.
Or taking in this case.
Why would you continue to allow, why would you not cancel your service?
I don't know. Do you think that there are people that thought, as you say, Dan, because they said they were ceasing their service, that they just assumed they would cease getting charged?
Because that's how that works typically.
No. Cancel your, let's make this very crystal clear. Unless they say they're not charging you anymore, you must cancel your service for MoviePass to not charge you any money. Because I promise you, if they can continue to charge you,
call your credit card company if you have to, block the charge. But they're not going to just willingly be like, we won't charge you.
How could you even, if you can't log in and if everything is shut down, you can't even go in to manually cancel it now.
Right. Well, that's the thing is, you're not like you're going to be able to contact them. You have to no. It's on you now. I hate to say this.
Sorry, you can't blame Chloe.
On you. Chloe, the director of marketing, is now working for a Bing. So she's moved on to another cushy Silicon Valley job. Thank you, Ryan. Chloe's of no help to you anymore. You're going to have to do this on your own.
The marketing dog. How is that not our anyone that still had MoviePass after the Chloe the bargaining dog, that's kind of on you. I kind of don't even feel sorry for you at that point anymore.
Yeah, at that point, if you're getting emails from the director of marketing,
But the marketing dog said it was a great deal. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Alrighty. Okay, so we have got a really exciting interview with CM Punk. Before we throw to that, Emma, is there anything that you would like to plug?
You can just find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Emma Fyffe in all the places. I got a website now. It's emmafyffe.com.
Right.
I'm working on things and keeping all that updated because there's stuff I've worked on that I'm not sure if I can talk about. So, there we go.
Sweet.
So make sure you check out the stuff that she is working on. As y'all know, there was a new Honest trailer that went up today. All right, so next we have got Phil Brooks, a.k.a. wrestler CM Punk, also, I guess, MMA fighter, is starring in a new horror film that is coming out this Friday called Girl on the Third Floor. Eric Goldman recently spoke to both Mr. Punk and the writer and director of the film, Travis Stevens.
It's like my father is Mr. Punk. Thank you.
You can just call me CM. So they talked about what it was like filming in a real-life haunted house. So check out that interview right now, and we will see you tomorrow. It will be pre-taped. Things are on fire. Bye.
Hey guys, Eric here. I'm with the writer and director of Girl on the Third Floor, Travis Stevens, and the star of Girl on the Third Floor, Phil Brooks, aka CM Punk. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's talk about the storyline of the movie. And Travis, how'd you come up with this? Because there's a lot of interesting elements here that are going on, from the theme of the movie, but also the real life, the location you shot at and how that influenced it. So what was it that all came together to make the storyline of this film?
Yeah, so the production company, Queensberry Pictures, is outside in the suburbs of Chicago, and they had come across this house that sits across the street from a church, and they bought the house and then found out that it has rumors of being haunted. And so the starting point for the story is, on one side of the street you have a house. It was also reportedly a bordello. And the other side of the street, you have a church. And I like that idea of that dynamic between the two. So that was sort of the seed. And from that, we sort of tell a story of a man who gives in to his vices over and over, and a house that makes him pay for that weakness.
Phil, you mentioned at the On-Fest screening how, you often will turn down a lot of things offered to you, but clearly you said yes to this. What was it about this that there was just, everything that you said, I want to do this role?
This guy's name jumped out at me. Coming from wrestling and fighting and all these physical things, to jump into acting, obviously it's been done. I don't know if anybody's successfully done, like, crossed over into horror genre. I got fact-checked earlier today. Somebody was like, oh, well, Kane did the See No Evil movies. And I literally went, well, okay. I forgot about that. All right. My bad. So you got to throw the caveat in there now of non-WWE produced, yes. For lack of a better term, a real horror movie. I believe the Saskas did part 2 of that franchise. So, thumbs up across the board. But for me, it was I turned down stuff like some C-level like Expendables movie. You know what I mean? Like people just, I think, look at wrestlers and they're like, oh, action movies, because The Rock has done it. Batista, I think, has done some, but he's breaking the mold.
Yep.
I've always been a horror movie fan, so to get presented the opportunity to be in one from legit distributor production company without even reading the script, knowing that Steve Albini was attached doing the score, and then, like, as I said, just Googling this man's name and seeing Starry Eyes, We Are Still Here, and Jodorowsky's Dune. Those are the 3 things that I had seen already, and I was like, those are all brilliant. If I could be in one of those, that would be awesome. Here's my opportunity.
This house has a history of bringing out the worst in people.
I love that a production company owns a potentially haunted house. What was it like shooting there? And did you legitimately feel a creepy vibe? Or was it just like, hey, we're filming a movie, so we got to buckle down?
When I first went there during pre-production, my experience walking in the house was one of the most dreadful feelings in my chest. And I was like, oh, this is legit. Because even on the plane ride there, in my head, I was like, this is just local chatter. Everybody's got a haunted house in their town. Sure. But I experienced it firsthand, where I was like, oh, this is a place that doesn't want me here. And so I had a conversation with the house that night trying to explain our intentions. And then over the course of the production, people had, knocks, hearing knocks or doors opening. You just sort of get used to it and be like, oh yeah, here's another thing that happened. So I don't necessarily believe in that stuff, but I experienced it. So
what was it like for you in there, Phil?
So just one day, randomly, myself and April, my wife, were well, let's go out and get some dinner in the suburbs, and we went to a local restaurant, and we were walking around after dinner, and I realized, I go, wait a second. I was like, I literally think like a block up is that house that we're supposed to shoot the movie in. So we walked over, and I was like, yeah, there it is. And April's like, this is creepy. She's like, you want to try to like go in? And like, I felt like a little kid. I felt like little Lonnie in Halloween, where their kids are daring them to go up to the Myers house. And I was just like, and it was still daylight. It was just, it felt like it had a presence to it. And then experiencing it filming, I didn't see anything, or I'm just like Travis. I don't necessarily believe in that stuff, but I would dare you to go out in the basement and tell me that you feel like you're actually alone. It's impossible to do there.
Speaking of, I know you mentioned you're a huge horror movie fan, so you had just filmed Rabbit, I believe, right before this. Is it for you kind of kid in a candy store that you're actually now getting to be in a couple of horror movies here?
Oh yeah, I'm absolute dream come true. I hope it continues. Grew up on Fangoria, grew up on, monster movies, being from Chicago, Svengoolie, on the lighter side of the horror movies, but I've always just been attracted to the subject matter, huge fan.
I'm a big horror movie fan too. I'm a big fan of old school, gory, practical effects, and this is a gooey movie as things go on. I'm sure, you guys appreciate that side of things as fans too, but what was it like actually filming it, on a tech side? I'm guessing there's a lot of aspects to it. Phil, in your case, you're actually having to get covered in a lot of this stuff. Did that take away some of the fun of it, or do you just sort of dive in?
Take away?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Again, I was covered in goo laughing at them because I was like, dude, you're paying me for this, you stupids. What are you doing, Hillary and Courtney, I think, they're responsible for mixing up most of the junk that I think I got covered in, and they were just brilliant. They're the ones, doing all the gooing, so to speak, and they were a delight to work with. I thought they were brilliant, and I loved every single one of those scenes, and I think it showed too, because a lot of most everybody on set was just, oh, are you okay? Are you this? Can we wipe this off you? And I was just like, well, we're gonna shoot it again. Why are you gonna wipe it off me? Like, just keep me covered in it. So it was easy, but it was easy because it was fun for me.
Travis, did you enjoy the messy days?
It really did, and I think it goes back to what you said. Like, it just brings out that childlike joy from it. And so Courtney or Hillary would come up with a bucket, be like, "Is this the right color?" And be like, "More red," and then they'd go away and come back 20 minutes later with a different color. And it was like, that's what we did for a month, and it was like, man, this is the best. Yep.
It is indeed good stuff. Well, guys, when and where can people see the film?
October 25th across the U.S. on VOD platforms and in select cities.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for being here. Girl on Third Floor, check it out October 25th. Thanks, guys.